Just before I get into the topic of the video, this is some stream gameplay for my birthday when we did some 4v4 customs. I'll probably upload it since it's 2 matches and it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun to watch and pretty fun to play. And I know a lot of you guys like to see the scrim stuff, so I'll probably throw it on the channel unedited. I almost forgot to put this last bit in. These were scrims with some Casual Encore members. Casual Encore is kind of like an Encore community clan. That's the clan I'm in, that's the clan Cammy Cakes is in, that's the clan Drewski's in. So if you wanted to do that, you're on PC. I think it's PC only. I'm not sure. Check it out. There's a Discord too. I'll probably put a link to the Discord in the description. Our friend Bio does a lot of tournaments with them, and he's got his own rule set and stuff like that. It's quite interesting. So if you're looking to do some like customs or scrims or sweats or whatever, you could probably find some people for that in there as well, even if you consider yourself to be a little bit lesser of a player. Hello gamers. Today I want to talk about a topic. It's a very important topic and one that I feel a lot of people struggle with, and I mean this whole topic and this whole discussion in the least condescending way possible. This is the topic of improvement and how to improve on anything in life. I've probably done a video on this before, but I feel that if I don't definitely remember making a video on this, then I definitely did not do a good job of elaborating my points and what have you. So that's going to change here and now. I also feel the need to iterate that this is just my experience and my opinions and my viewpoints and what's worked for me in the past, the current, and hopefully the future. So I would take this with a grain of salt. However, that's entirely up to you as to how you take the topic that will be spoken about today, because I feel like it's an important topic that really should be talked about. I think it's an interesting topic of discussion. Topic. I do feel like getting into a little bit more of the meta things involving this. Things such as like elitism and try-harding, quote unquote. But I'll probably save those more in depth for a later video. But I would like to touch on them. So jumping right into this, and sorry if there's a couple audio jumps here and there. I'm starting to talk a little bit louder whenever I get into these topics. The first thing I want to jump into and kind of touch upon is personality. I feel like a lot of this boils down to personality from time to time. And what I mean by this is you tend to have people who are like quote unquote helpless or something like that. I guess learned helplessness. No, that's the right term. One take wizard here. You have people who are like, okay, I want to grind this out, and then there's people who are just kind of like, oh, I suck, and that's the end of that for them. Instead of having that growing, adaptable mindset where I want to improve and I want to grind this out and I want to get sick as fuck at this, versus, oh, I'm bad and I'm just always going to be mediocre. And of course, there could be a lot of things or a lot of other reasons why someone may feel this way, personality or not. Maybe someone's got a lot of work and they don't want to focus on becoming an MLG sweat lord, a Destiny, and that type of deal. And that's entirely okay. It's entirely okay. Me personally, I like to kind of push the limits a lot of the time when it comes to things like WoW or RuneScape or PvP and FPS games. I really like to get as good as I can most of the time, up to a certain limit. I'm not a huge fan of scrub mentality, although I do have friends who suffer from scrub mentality, and that's okay. It's okay for someone to feel a different way about a game, and some people kind of struggle with that. Even I struggled with that until very recently. And I'm not sure if this is going to sound really stupid or not, because I don't study psychology and the likes and stuff like that. But I do feel like some personality traits are definitely reformable, if you will, as in you can, I guess, alter or increase or benefit better from that trait by changing your mindset, changing how you feel and think about subjects, such as the one that we're talking about today. And I feel like the first step to improvement or becoming like a very improvement-centric person, bettering yourself and the likes of such, is definitely the first step is mentality and improvement. I know whenever I get dunked on in something that I kind of like, even if it's something as trivial as like Scrabble or Monopoly, I take a look at it. If I want to get good at it, then it's like, hey, let's figure out how to get good at this. Even if that involves like rewriting the dictionary of that game, I go for it, man, because sometimes it's worth it, and then other times it's just for fun. Like for me, I guess this is like some kind of ludicrous, self-maniacal hobby that I just like to get good at things. Whether or not I'm successful at that is debatable, and it's entirely open to interpretation. But I like to believe that I do a good job. I do a good job where I lie in that Confucian standpoint. So we've talked about the personality and mindset kind of thing. Let's get a little bit more into the meat of the subject, and that is how to actually approach this. So for me, and I'll tell you my exact experience, when I was learning how to play WoW at like a mythic rating difficulty, my thinking boiled strictly down to, all right, so what's the most important thing of being a DPS? Being able to do damage. So what I did is I looked at quite a few different builds: Fire, Arcane, Frost Mage. You don't need to know any of this terminology, I'll explain in a moment. And I looked at the rotations, and I objectively looked, hey, which one of these is better right now? Which one of these is projected to be better later on? And which one of these was really good previously? And I looked very critically at these. Specifically speaking, I looked, why was this exact specialization good at this period in time? Was it just better in terms of just raw ability damage? Or was there a specific reasoning? And I came to find out that Arcane was really good at the time because there wasn't a lot of movement involved. So you could use things like Rune of Power, which is an area that you, like, it's an ability that lays down an area, and if you stand within that area, you do a lot of damage, kind of like a Well of Radiance or a Bubble like you're seeing on gameplay right now. Whereas something like Fire Mage had quite a bit more mobility, but was just not as good because you just lost out in terms of raw hit ability and raw ability damage to something like an Arcane Mage. And then eventually Frost got a buff, and so I learned Frost, and I learned the Ice Lance or no Ice Lance build, and the Glacial Spike and Ebb and Bolt build, which is really good right now. And I just got really good. I built all the abilities into the muscle memory, got practiced, and took it into a live scenario. And I was shit. I was complete shit in this live scenario. But I kept at it. I got shit talked in pub groups. Why is your damage so low? Why are you so low on meters? You're like the third best DPS in the game right now. And I didn't sit there and say, oh, maybe this just isn't for me. I said, hey, what am I doing wrong objectively? I recorded some gameplay. I asked for some advice from guilds. I joined a new guild around that time, so I asked for some advice. And a lot of people said, well, hey, man, instead of moving around, I think you could probably squeeze in another like 2k damage per second, which was, a marginal amount during this time, by understanding the mechanics and knowing the timing and just being prepared for that. And that's something that I took to like every day now, is positioning everywhere, positioning in FPS games, in WoW, in RuneScape, even in Monopoly. Sometimes I'm sitting too left of the board. I gotta sit a little bit closer to the middle so I can steal money from the bank. And really, that's all there is to it. It's quite a simple topic. It's mentality and being able to critically, I guess, devise a plan, if you will, and follow through with that plan even when you realize that you're complete dog shit at something. And I feel like that this is a lesson that the youth of today maybe might not have a grasp on. Although I don't like to generalize, it's not very fair or cool. An important part here is to actively challenge yourself, even if you're scared. I think it's very important to just be scared and go for it anyway. Although I want to note context here is extremely relevant and important, because if you're defusing a bomb for a SWAT team, you can't halfway defuse a bomb. But that's, I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to deviate into some examples here. So let's say you want to become better at, track or cross country. I think a critical plan would probably involve something along the lines of a flowchart, if you will. So we'll start with, do you have a severely impending disability like asthma or something like that? If so, then you might genuinely just be fucked and that your journey ends here. And that's just the harsh reality of life. Sometimes it's a little tough to accept, but in context of gaming, unless you have a disability, and even if you do, that context generally doesn't apply. Because I've seen some kids on D1 doing trials carries with only their feet and using a foot controller. And if you get dunked on by a guy using a foot, let me stop here. So we can move on to the more crucials, things like improving stamina and lung capacity by running and controlling your breathing. For example, I know when I used to jog on treadmills at the gym or whatever, I would hold water in my mouth, so I only breathed out of my nose because at least I heard that this was a good way to do that. Do I feel like in retrospect it actually benefited me? I think I do. I think I do. And why did I want to get better at running or jogging or whatever? Just because I felt like it was a good thing. I feel like I would probably have lived life better. And during that time, I remember feeling quite would I say energized? Probably. But I definitely felt better. I just felt better. And, that's kind of a swag daddy thing to say, like, oh, I play video games 12 hours a day and I can run 5 miles without stopping. Or like another context that's directly relevant to me and you if you're watching this video is becoming a better content creator for me. Instead of quitting and saying, oh, I suck balls and I'm never going to be able to, flow a conversation or structure a video out properly. Well, here I am. I feel like I've improved probably 20-fold. I'm doing this perfectly fine right now. And I really just boiled it down to like, hey, I'm going to watch my videos. I'm going to be critical. And what I came up with was that my ability to flow and hold a conversation with the video editing software was quite poor. Why was it quite poor? I feel like I didn't have structure in my statements. I feel like they were all over the place. And I took a moment, took a step back, and now I just kind of structure what I'm going to say in my head, even if it's very loosely like it is right now. This is an ad-lib first take I'm going on right now. And as you can see, I'm able to generate the thoughts and kind of put it together right now. So, just to give you a context there, someone who's kind of weird like me, if you will, is even able to directly apply these to both myself and yourself. So yeah, we could truncate this entire video into a single sentence saying, just be a good problem solver, lol. But I feel like a lot of these concepts might be lost among a hard focus on physical attributes, if you will. I do want to wrap this up before this gets way out of hand and spirals out of control like all my videos do, and say you should always resolve and drive to improve yourself, whether that be as a video game player, a relationship partner, a coworker, or even just as a human being. I know that I myself as a person am always trying and practicing and improving to the best of my abilities that I can, both as a player, as a friend, and whatnot. Sometimes these concepts take a little bit more work than others, but at the end of the day, it's usually worth it. I would say that the ability to persevere through tough times is very, very, very important in all throughout life. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little bit of a post commentary. It's a little bit more serious and definitely a little bit more relatable and relevant to everyone who would watch this video. I don't tend to do videos like this very often, but I feel like it's nice to break up the monotony of watching the same boring gameplay over and over again. And yeah, I just want to say thanks for watching, dudes. See you later, dorks.